Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and talk. The props that you'll need, of course, are your bolster, yoga blocks, blankets, hand towel, and can set the lighting with the rope lights and the main lights off. Check the thermostat and the draft stoppers, especially keeping the room a little warmer. And then if you'd like to use the diffuser, it is in the cabinet as well. It's optional. And there should still be some water with essential oils in the basin of the diffuser. So we will go ahead and get started and come to seated on our mat. Welcome to my yoga room. And I hope this works because I'm excited if it does, because we can do it again. Today we're going to go through our typical restorative class. As we come to seated, can be sitting on a block, a bolster, folded up blankets, or just even sitting flat on your mat if you want to. And just find where you can be comfortable for a few minutes. And set this over here. I'm excited. I know this is really silly, but I can light a candle in my yoga room and maybe have a little ambiance to share with you all. So as we sit tall, from crown of head to the tail, take a few breaths and settle in, bringing our chin neutral. And let's turn our palms up. So there's softness in our hands. There's length from crown of head to tail. Our foundation, our seated foundation is just the sits bones, the knees opening out. So it's kind of like a triangle if we're sitting in easy seated or sitting cross-legged. Inhale, chest expanding. Exhale, settling and sinking. So if nothing else, just taking the opportunity to come to our mats, to breathe, slow things down, let go of all the other things to do today. Be mindful in our yoga practice, kind to our bodies. Can also just take a few minutes here breathing. And any restorative practice can be adapted for what your body needs today. So maybe you want to just slow things down even more and settle into one or two poses. And that option would be really great if you wanted to do just a butterfly pose with your bolster and legs up the wall. Could spend 20 to 30 minutes in each pose. So I just offer that to you today, that you have the freedom to explore what is good in your body for today. So just take another minute here, seated, settling, a sense of sinking maybe into the sits bones and yet rising through the crown of our head, so we still maintain the length and the openness. We'll let the right ear move towards the right shoulder. Left hand can feel heavy. And then reach the right hand up and over to rest on the left side of the head. Just a disclaimer, if the Wi-Fi does go out on my end and the screen goes black, I won't come back and start a new live stream, but instead, just use that opportunity to do what I just suggested. Can do a butterfly supported on your bolster and legs up the wall. Or maybe resting bridge pose with the bolster. Those are just some of the perpetually beneficial, always good, always restorative. Let me come back to center. And really, it's the practice of being still. And as we're in stillness and restorative, there's more opportunity for connective tissue, I can't talk today. Connective tissue softening, lengthening, and really giving ourselves permission to relax and let go in a supported stretch. And sometimes that takes more than 5 minutes. Sometimes our class feels rushed. Hold on. Hello? Hello?
Hey.
Hi. Okay. Well, that's what I wondered. I just started a new one because I thought maybe it would do that, but if it's not working, we'll just.
Okay, so you did just start a new one?
Yeah.
Like, I think I was the old one. Maybe, I don't know, I'm still trying to, it's not showing up as a search thing again like it did the last one. This is annoying me.
Yeah.
Cause it was on,
Yeah.
and then they came out and, okay, I think I've got it. Okay, this is your new one.
Okay. You'll see me on my cell phone.
That's okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I see you on the other side. Okay, great.
Thank you, Rachel. You're awesome.
Continue.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thankful for technology and welcome to my yoga room. I hope you all have a bolster, blocks, blankies, can add a draft stopper to the door to keep the room warm. And let's have, just check the thermostat, make sure that it's 68 or 69 in the room because it's cold outside and we want to keep the warmth as we're in a restorative mindset of being closer to the cold floor and have extra layers. I'm in my basement. It's colder in my basement too, and have my socks on as well. So as you get settled, just come into a seated position on your mat. It can be on your block, maybe on a bolster or a couple of blankets if that feels good, especially if you want a little extra insulation. Can use the blanket on your mat to sit on, and even just stacking two blankets is a wonderful option. Also, I hope you can enjoy. I have a candle burning and it's real, and I hope that creates just a little warmth and a little ambiance in our time this morning. So, as we come into seated, sitting tall, just take a few minutes, letting go and clearing our minds of distractions and just maybe the fact that things didn't work right at first is okay. We're going to do the best we can with where we are. And if my internet cuts out again and the screen goes black, just give yourselves permission to do legs up the wall or maybe do the butterfly pose with your bolster and give yourself 15 minutes and just do those two poses. Because really, restorative is about not just the supported, the stretch, but giving ourselves more time to really decompress and let go. And sometimes I feel like we move through the class even too quickly. So, disclaimer, if my screen goes black and this doesn't work, just give yourself that permission to do those two poses and hold them longer and let that be our class for today. So otherwise, we'll just go through this as far as we can and enjoy the blessings of technology that I am feeling fine. I will be testing again this afternoon. Mike is in Rolla doing intervention with his brother and trying to get him into a detox center. So we appreciate any prayers and support through this week. It's kind of a different week for us on several different levels. So restorative is a good place to be today. And thank you all for being here. And thank you for your patience. And thank you, staff, Rachel, for setting this up. As we're sitting tall, just take a few breaths and exhaling, feel experientially, like where you can relax into your shoulders from the ears, more space. When we're uptight, feel just that tension of shoulders being closer to ears. Maybe even do that right now. Feel the difference. Feel the tension. Make fists, squeeze elbows in. Feel, you can even see how shoulders are closer to ears in my posture, and then release. Soften back and down. And then let that softness travel down your spine into the glutes and into the base of where we're seated. And knees can open out where that's comfortable for you. So it's still a vital or dynamic posture of sitting upright and sitting with alignment, and yet with softness, kindness, and awareness. We'll let our right ear move towards right shoulder, lengthening down the left side of our neck. Our hand can feel heavy towards the floor. And then we're bringing our right hand up and over to rest on the left side of the head. And then when you're ready, you can switch sides, back to center, centering long and tall, and then exhale, ear towards the shoulder. And we're bringing the other hand up and over, and right hand towards the floor. Then let's come back to center. Bringing our knees in, walking our hands back. It can be on your fists, or hands can be flat. Open up the chest. Lengthen, lift the heart. Find that space there. And then start to open up the throat. Lift the chin. Find as much length as is available to you today. can use your fists as an alternative, fists for wrists. And then slowly come back to center. We're switching our feet and seated. The other foot in front. Reach the arms tall. And let's bring in prayer hands to heart. Just a gentle flow. Long exhale. Drawing the belly in. Opening wide. Lifting. Exhale. Down the midline. That primary line of crown to tail. Spine. Let's just do 2 more at your own perfect pace for today. Lengthen and then a long exhale. Inviting calmness, participating there within that space. And then a side stretch. We'll bring right hand down, left arm over left ear. We did extra side stretches yesterday, so this might feel nice, just for a gentle pause and hold. No repetitions. And switch sides. Reach tall as you inhale and create height, and then over the ear. And then move back to center in a seated twist. We'll inhale, lift the arms, and exhale, a right side twist, bringing left hand over, and walk the right hand behind us. And let's relax this left shoulder more away from the ear. Maybe even turning left palm up. And then back to center, switching sides. Inhale to lift the arms tall, and twisting on our exhale to left side. As we come back to center, let's bring child's pose to our bolster first. Can use your hand towel across the top of the bolster just to have a safe barrier there. And then if you want to have extra padding underneath and extra insulation, be sure and put down a blanket first. We'll run the bolster vertical on our mats, and then come to rest or snuggle into child's pose. And if you'd like, can also have a blanket to go across your back, kind of put it on like a cape, with the fringe out on the ends, can kind of bring it around your neck as you're moving into child's pose. And that just takes some of the transitional shifting around issues out of the child's pose, so your feet don't get cold. Alrighty, so it's kind of fun. I've got my green bolsters out today and my blankets. These were a fun Christmas present a few years ago for seated poses. Like a little woven pillow. And in child's pose also, if you want to elevate the front end where your head is, can use a yoga block under that space, the front end of your bolster, just to make it a little taller, and then you can slide your arms underneath. Just letting ourselves snuggle in, keeping the warmth insulated into our pose with the blankets. Be sure and add any layers of socks or a warmer jacket if you feel chilled at all. So we can stay here. Be here for, let's do 3 minutes in child's pose. You can turn your head one direction and then the other. And just feel where your breath is traveling in your back, low back, hips. Maybe if you're hugging your bolster, just feeling that expansion into the mid back. So our next pose will be moving into butterfly with the bolster the length of our mat. I'm going to angle mine just so I have a different angle for the camera. And you can use a block again to turn different heights. So maybe you want it the tallest height that would be comfortable with the bolster. You could try this, but it might fall over. But the second level, or even having it flat. And then with butterfly, maybe you want to start on the bolster and have just a nice lengthening tree pose or mountain pose to start with. So mountain is all the length of the body, like if we were standing tall. Lengthening, lying on the bolster, the length of the spine. So you want your tailbone and the top of the neck on the bolster. And then when you come into butterfly, let yourself slide down. So you bring your bottom to the floor. Well, I was hoping that was a better angle. I don't think it is. So bring your bottom to the floor when you get into butterfly. And you could start in one and transition to butterfly, or if you just want to go right on into butterfly, feel free to. Butterfly is a hip opener. So actually, even just starting in a seated pose with sitting cross-legged was a hip opener to start with. And that does create warmth and stretching into the hips to where we can go ahead and come on into butterfly pose if that's what you would like to do. So we can have our low back and tailbone, sacrum on the mat. Bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees open out towards the floor. And if we're taking care of knees, this is where using extra blocks is a wonderful way to support our knees and take stress off the groin and the knee. So if we want to use a block, can bring it underneath the knee. And again, you have different levels to choose from if our knees are extra tight or inner thigh groin area. So this allows still for openness, to be able to rest, settle into the pose, as well as still be supported and get the benefits of the stretch. So just throwing that out there. You can have your arms resting on the floor, palms up, or you can even bring your hands to your belly. What is most restful for you? So in the stillness of a restorative posture, we're still building deep flexibility, allowing connective tissue to soften and our joints to just slowly, like at their own pace, open. So the hips, where the legs connect into the hips. This is a more gentle opener than to do repeated moonflower, sunflower squats and point the toes out, or to do more deeper straddle stretches. Whereas this is just going to be a more gentle approach. And as we hold this posture and are supported, it's actually going to allow for a deeper flexibility to just come at its own pace. So restorative yoga on a regular basis is more than just for the muscles and connective tissue. It's also super good for the joints. And sometimes after you've been in a position for a few minutes, you might start to feel areas of resistance. And that might be an area where halfway through you think, why does that all of a sudden feel tight? And you might just want to support that side. Add in your block, your yoga block can be useful right here if you want to support one side more than the other, or both sides. We'll just take about 3 more minutes here. You can do this at home without a bolster even. So if this is one you wanted to hold longer and just rest on the floor or rest in bed, and if you're wanting to invite even more relaxation, can use a hand towel or an eye pillow over the eyes, turning off outside noises, and maybe even add some white noise of a fan or something gentle in the background, or music. Sometimes it's just nice to put on earbuds and listen to a favorite playlist. Restorative yoga is also just a great place to bring in favorite teachings that encourage, or um, meditations that help us just train our brain to focus on positive things. So we're going to start to transition to our next pose, and that can be sitting up and maybe just forward fold, or if you want to bring the bolster to your legs in a forward fold. We'll be coming into our next pose as legs up the wall. Just add in or sprinkle in a forward fold here using the bolster. And then when you're ready, legs up the wall or resting bridge pose. And resting bridge is supporting the hips either with your block or your bolster. Great for psoas, deep six, low back and hips. Or if you want to get low back, hips, and hamstrings, legs up the wall is a really great option for that. So we can bring the short end of our mat up to the wall and then start to slide up to the wall. You can bring your right knee and your right shoulder up to the wall. And then start to bend your elbows to lower yourself back. And at the same time, kind of swing your shoulders to the left and then bring your legs up and can move and scoot into where your bottom is up against the wall. Can wrap the blanket around your legs if you feel chilled a bit. Can add also the blanket underneath for more insulation. Or another option with these yoga blankets is the weighted blanket. And so you can leave it folded either in a quarter or maybe roll that into another long folded just for weight across the abdomen, or can turn it into more of a square fold and come up into the shoulders just for the little extra weightedness. It's not a 25-pound weight by any means. It's more of a 6 or 7 pound blanket. Some of them are 3 pounds. So it just depends on the weave of the blanket. Allow the arms, if we're in resting bridge or legs up the wall, just allow the arms to be soft out at our side. Palms can be up. Looks like the Wi-Fi is still working. We're still good. And either one can be still holding the posture the entire time, or can move the legs or the arms. Legs can lift if you're in resting bridge pose. Just elevate the legs up in the air and do some figure 4. Bring the knees towards your chest. You can even do little side stretches or half straddle type stretches. And on the wall, same thing. Can bring the legs out wider, one leg at a time, or lift your bottom, lift your hips, walk up and down the wall a few times. So figure 4. I think one of the things I like the most about legs up the wall is just anytime I feel like maybe the SI is feels like a little out of place, or one hip feels just a tiny more tightness than the other, that legs up the wall helps bring alignment. Staying here is the secret. Letting just gravity and the supported pose with alignment The softness of our exhale brings softness into connective tissue. Like an adjustment without manipulation. Ways that you can provide self-care for your own benefit, your own therapy. Bring the arms more to goalposts. Just see where that travels in your back. If you feel more tension and lifting away from the mat or arching into your back, maybe add more extension than the bending, bringing the arms in closer. Regardless, we'll still enjoy supported and awesome alignment of shoulders over hips and back of head. You can also move through some arm and wrist yoga, hand yoga, stretching each finger back as we lift towards the ceiling and stretch fingers wide, bend at the wrists. Wrist releases, squeezing the forearm and bending that wrist forward and back as you walk the opposite hand up the arm and squeeze. Maybe some thumb touching and reach towards the ceiling to bring shoulder blades off the mat and exhale back and down. With the lifting, creating length to bring the arms towards the floor over our head. Can stretch one arm longer and then the other. And just start bringing yourself to a sideline position from the wall or from the bolster. Can slide your bolster out to the side and come onto your back. And just slowly take your time. Use your top arm to come up. Come back to seated. Sitting tall. We'll bring our palms to our knees. Add some head rolls and circling our head one direction and then the other. And as we come to center, let's inhale and reach the arms tall. Exhale, we're bringing prayer hands to heart. And thank you, and have a blessed day. So hoping to see you next week, and hoping also for a negative test later on today. So far, we all feel good, and Tori's definitely feeling better. So thank you for participating, and I would love to have some feedback, and not only things I can improve, but things that you enjoyed. And I hope this was a good opportunity to just try using technology, just in case for future purposes. If there's a time that I need to be out, but I'm still able to teach, then this is a way to just use technology to still be a part of the class at the same time. So I hope that it was good for all of you, and I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.